So I picked a Christian college, essentially because I had a terrible crush on the BSU president. He had visited my hometown one summer and left me with one last hope that something might be good in the church yet. He was tall and dark and smart, clean-cut, nice eyes, and he loved God. I was desperate to find someone who really meant that when he said it. He used to sing my name across campus whenever he saw me in this robust baritone. By the end of my freshman year, though, I realized that this guy had dated the entire Sigma Kappa sorority and that he collected female affections like baseball cards or safari tigers. So I started hanging out with the poets instead. They wore black and they told the truth, even if it wasn't pretty. A couple times a year I'd come home on a weekend and go to church with my family. Cynical and wearing too much eyeliner, I sat numb through most of the sermons, vacillating between guilt and anger for the rest. My dander was up on a Sunday morning that someone introduced me to a youngish-looking missionary. Said he was a senior in college, said he was going to Russia to tell people about Jesus. We sized each other up like single people do, even if they're not looking, which I wasn't. My first impressions were, I'm too tall for him, that makes me feel fat, and I can't stand pastors. His first impression was, wow, she's sort of feminist or something. My parents invited their family over for dinner. I remember wearing camo that night on purpose. My brother and the missionary's brother and sisters went hiking after dinner in the woods behind my house. We decided to go along with them. Climbing up one side of the waterfall, he offered me a hand. I didn't need any help, especially from a pastor. I'd climbed those waterfalls most of my life, but I took his hand and, no joke, the sun broke through the trees at that moment. His hand was warm and dry and strong, and I felt something bigger than I was pulling me up for the first time in years. Driving home from our first date a couple of weeks later, he gave me the rules. He was pursuing me to build me up, to encourage me. He wasn't going to kiss any other girls until he got engaged, he said. He wanted to focus instead on really getting to know me, and he wanted to protect me. I laughed and leaned over right then and kissed him on the cheek. He was driving. What's he going to do, kick Jezebel out of the car? I found out later he thought about it. Our relationship was fascinating. I knew that he was trying to give me God's love instead of just taking whatever he wanted, so I tested everything he offered. I knew pastors. I hated them. I didn't want to fall in love with one of them. But I couldn't find the leak. He loved me with a love bigger than what a human being can give, and I finally just gave up and we got married. 2 months into my missus, we were hanging out at his church. Okay, our church. Their youth minister pulled me to the side. She was a couple years older than I was, and we were starting to become friends. She'd been married at that time for 11 months. So, marriage, is it going okay? She asked. Yeah, it's great. I said, he's great. I can't believe it. Well, she said, wait a few months. When you've been married for 11 months, you'll be singing a totally different song. I remembered that a couple of years later when I got a phone call. She was dead. It was domestic violence. Her husband had shot her, and then he had shot himself. Their 3 little boys were playing next door when he did it.